Okay, so necromancy, as most of you guys will know, deals with kind of that communication between the living and the dead, deals with the liminal barriers between life and death. So of course, Hekate is like, that's my jam.
Right. She's like, holding like Cocos.
Exactly, she is. So Hekate, as the queen of the restless dead, was appropriate to call upon. Since the restless dead were the type most called upon for assistance in magic. Greeks were continuing kind of the Egyptian tradition of calling on the dead for assistance with spells and what have you.
Right.
And interestingly enough, like I think that is a tradition that really has carried through to today.
Yes.
So if you don't know, the restless dead were those who did not receive proper burial rites, or who had died violently or before their time.
Right.
As we say today, those with unfinished business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people. Yeah, spirits with unfinished business.
Yes.
Well, that was a lovely journey.
It was.
As much as we loved being in the cemetery, because we're spooky like that, we decided that for spellcraft, gotta take it back to where the magic happens.
Exactly.
And I don't mean my bedroom.
That was my altar tour.
This is true. At least this time.
This time.
So as promised, we're back.
We are back.
A little dim, as you can see, because we're at the altar. Not any deity's altar, it's not Hecate's altar. Hecate's altar is very nearby, but this is actually my working altar. Now, we're not going to be doing any actual spell casting in terms of like putting in the energy, the work, putting the meaning and the power behind the language to make it happen. This is just about showing kind of just atmospheric operationals.
Yes. What it would be like if we did.
Exactly. So, Hekate and Death and Necromancy, and all the other fun shit, the underworld, all that. So, obviously we weren't going to do spellcraft or even discuss this subject in the cemetery. A, we don't want to raise the dead, and B, I'm extremely sensitive to spirits, and I can walk into a dead space where there hasn't been activity in a very long time, and they like my taste, and it jacks them up. And I have to work very hard to keep spirits out at all times. Even watching things about ghosts can be difficult because if my brain connects too long, like focuses, loses itself in ghost hunting and hauntings and like in a space, I start to open up and connect with it. And then next thing you know, the ghost of Mary Bimbo and Sioux Falls, North Dakota is coming into my house because we gotta remember, because you're like, well, that was pre-recorded, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Film footage was taken, imprinted of a place. That's all energy, that's all whatever. And then you're watching it, and that's opening a thing. It's bad enough when like ghost hunters do like a live thing. I can't even watch those because I have allowed things from like a pub in England to come into my home like when I was younger. So we avoid that. But we still want to discuss it, and we thought it would be perfect for spellcraft because, as I said, I recently lost a family member, and they were suffering. And yes, I didn't want to lose them, but I also didn't want them to suffer, and I wanted them to move on as quickly as possible. And people in my family are stubborn to die, because we're just stubborn people. So I did a spell to assist with that, and I mean, it worked. She was gone 7 days later. And I had confirmation of some of the things that she saw that, because she talked about it apparently from her passing, that definitely confirmed that it was my spell request. And so again, going through the motions here, I'm not actually going to do it. So a little bit about Hekate, necromancy, reanimation, witchcraft, etc. And for that, we turn to a band.
Okay, so necromancy, as most of you guys will know, deals with kind of that communication between the living and the dead, deals with the liminal barriers between life and death. So of course, Hekate is like, that's my jam.
Right. She's like, holding like Cocos.
Exactly, she is. So Hekate, as the queen of the restless dead, was appropriate to call upon. Since the restless dead were the type most called upon for assistance in magic. Greeks were continuing kind of the Egyptian tradition of calling on the dead for assistance with spells and what have you.
Right.
And interestingly enough, like I think that is a tradition that really has carried through to today.
Yes.
You know. So if you don't know, the restless dead were those who did not receive proper burial rites, or who had died violently or before their time.
Right.
As we say today, those with unfinished business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, people. Yeah, ghost spirits with unfinished business.
Yes. Sometimes those factors would be combined, such as soldiers killed in battle, not receiving proper burials, etc., etc.
Civil War battlefields.
Now, the first account of necromancy in Greek myths was given about Circe.
Oh,
In Homer's Odyssey, of course.
Of course.
Of course, because we're, you know, the Odyssey just loves to talk about Circe.
It really does.
Okay, so an example from the Odyssey is when Circe explained to Odysseus what he needed to do to successfully perform necromancy.
Oh, mm-hmm.
Yes. See, this is what I think a lot of people don't really want to discuss, is that the Odyssey is 100% a story about witches.
Correct. Yeah, it's all about witches and making Odysseus do some witchcraft.
Exactly.
Whether he likes it or not.
Exactly. And honestly, I'm sure it was not his first time.
No, and also, because it was so common back then.
Oh, yeah.
And also, like, as we talked about before, and as I'm sure so many of you know, yes, you can do spells and work shit for other people, but in the end, it's better to have, if not have them do, like, the actual spell part of it, to be a part of it.
Exactly.
Because they're the one who actually wants it.
Exactly. So what she said was, when you have reached this spot, as I now tell you, dig a trench a cubit or so in length, breadth, and depth, and pour into it as a drink offering to all the dead, first honey mixed with milk, then wine, and in the third place water, sprinkling white barley meal over the whole. Moreover, you must offer many prayers to the poor feeble ghosts, and promise them that when you get back to Ithaca, you will sacrifice a barren heifer to them, the best you have, and will load the pyre with good things. More particularly, you must promise that Tiresias shall have a black sheep all to himself, the finest in all your flocks.
Mm.
Which...
Make those dues. Mm-hmm. Make those payments.
Exactly. And if that happened, I'm sure he had no issues.
Sure.
So in general, in the ancient Greek world, there was a standard procedure for necromancy,
mm-hmm.
And it was quite similar to the offerings that you would make for funerals.
Right.
So you would dig a pit, make a fire, you would make libations of liquids such as honey and milk, oil, water, or wine,
mm-hmm.
Offer a grain such as barley cakes, kind of like the ones that we made on this episode.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Or flowers.
Right.
You would sacrifice a preferably black animal and burn it on the fire.
Mm-hmm.
You would offer blood and prayers to the chthonic gods.
Mm-hmm. Chief amongst them, Hekate.
Exactly. So that suggests the key difference between like a funeral to bury your dead and an act of necromancy to communicate with that dead was the intent. Which,
see, we always come back to intent.
Always the intent.
Because in the end, your intent leads your spell and directs your magic how to conduct the spell.
Exactly. A more modern example was given by Ebenezer Sibley in his book, A New and Complete Illustration of the Occult Sciences from 1795.
Ooh.
So, you know, vaguely modern. But
vaguely. More modern than the Greek magical papyri.
So he said, but if it be desired to put interrogatories to the spirit, also as a legal assistant, I gotta commend his use of interrogatories.
Yes,
anyway,
I would too.
If it be desired to put interrogatories to the spirit of any corpse that hath hanged, drowned, or otherwise made away with itself, the conjuration must be performed while the body hangs, or on the spot where it is first found after the suicide hath been committed, and before it is touched or removed by the coroner's jury. The ceremony is as follows. The exorcist binds upon the top of his wand a bundle of St. John's wort, or a millier perforatum, with the head of an owl, and having repaired to the spot where the corpse lies at 12 o'clock at night, he draws the circle, and solemnly repeats the following words. By the mysteries of the deep, by the flames of Banal, by the power of the east, and by the silence of the night, by the holy rites of Hekate, I conjure and exorcise thee, thou distressed spirit, to present thyself here, and reveal unto me the cause of thy calamity, why thou didst offer violence to thy own liege life, where thou art now in being, and where thou wilt hereafter be. Boom, boom.
Boom, boom.
Otherwise known as Spill the Tea, bitch.
The Hekate. Welcome to the show. All right, so get closer to the light for you people. Actually, I'll move a little candle over here so you can see me better. And ahead. Yeah. Set design as we go. Exactly. Again, we're not actually casting the spells I'm about to provide to you. Clearly we didn't cast those. But we want to give you the workings so you can do it on your own if you have someone in your life who unfortunately is at the end and they're just struggling, they're suffering, they're just not letting go for whatever reason, but it's not good for them to hang on. This is a great way to help them move on and let go. All right, so this spell is it kicks off with invocation to Hekate Selene for any magical working. And this is from the Greek magical papyri. As we talked about, that's one of the older spell books. I believe it's, if I remember, it's like the 8th century BCE. And while, yes, you can say Hekate Selene or Selene, doesn't matter really. But it's clear that it's like straight up Hekate. I don't even really know. I don't actually, every time I do, I was like, where's Selene in this? Like, it's literally just straight up Hekate. I think it was just when it was written in the Greek magical papyri, I think they were trying to make use. I mean, I'm speaking for people like 3,500 years ago or more. But I'm trying to kind of think in their headspace.
Right, like how you would interpret what you think happened, but obviously you don't.
Yeah, so like in the Eleusinian Mysteries, the Greek magical papyri, the Voices Magica, all these like ancient spellbooks from ancient Greece, Macedonia, Minoan, Mycenaean, Roman culture, Turkish culture, and Anatolia. So with things like the Greek magical papyri, the Voices Magica, the Chaldean or Chaldean oracles, etc., I think what they were trying to do was utilize all of her epithets, and in all of these spellbooks, she is the deity contacted most of all. Most of the spells in all of these scriptures and books are to Hekate more than any other god or goddess or spirit. For as we now, I'm sure, realize into the episode for obvious reasons. So I use this. I don't use Selene. I just say Hekate. There's really no point to say Hekate Selene or Selene because it's just straight up Hekate. So you're going to, after you cast your circle, done all that shit, right? Okay. We are going to give an offering to Hekate of incense. Now this, which I love, is a really cool triple moon Hekate incense burner, but she's like a beautiful fucking chick from the 20s. Like, it actually reminds me of the woman who played Nina in Dracula Bela Lugosi.
Oh yeah, I see that, yeah.
Like, yeah. So I have honey incense for her. This is not some shitty shit. This stuff literally smells like you just stuck your nose in a jar of honey. Lavender will do. Sage. Sage? Or is that appropriation? No. Sage grows everywhere, all over the world, and it's always been used for the same magical reasons. The native peoples of America did not create using sage for cleansing, smudging, as their term is used, or anything else. That's just been universal magical knowledge taught by the gods, and, you know, people in ancient Greece and Rome and Turkey didn't know anyone from, you know, the Sioux tribe, or, you know, the Apache or anything. Like, they had no idea the United States even existed. Like, but universal magical knowledge, where did we come from? Well, clearly there's a thread and connection there. But everyone all over the world has used sage for the same thing since the dawn of time. So clearly, that's what it's used for. So that's appropriate. Again, lavender, peppermint, mint of any kind, plus all the other things we fucking talked about in this show so far. I don't know, we've been filming this for a very long time. All right, so you're gonna make your offering of incense, or actually it is incense specifically mentioned in this. So, yay. Blessed Hekate, gracious goddess, great commenter, world soul, creatrix of the universe, please hear our sacred spells and accept this incense as a gift to you for your blessings. Okay, got our incense. Now begins the Death Magick spell. So the invocation to Hekate goes as follows. O three-faced Hekate, come to me, beloved mistress, graciously hear my sacred spells. Image of night, youthful one, dawn-born light-bringer to mortals, who rise upon fierce-eyed bulls. O queen, you who drive your chariot on equal course with Helios, you dance with triple forms of the triple graces, as you revel with the stars. You are justice and the thread of the fates, Clotho, Lycosis, and Atropos. O three-headed one, you are Persephone, Megaria, and Alecto. O one of many shapes, who arm your hands with terrible dark-glowing lamps, who shakes locks of fearsome serpents at your brow, whose mouths send forth the roar of bulls, whose womb is thick with reptile scales, at whose shoulders are rows of venomous serpents, bound across your back beneath murderous chains. O night bellower, lover of solitude, bull-faced and bull-headed one, you have the eyes of bulls and the voice of dogs. Your forms are hidden in the legs of lions, your ankles wolf-shaped and savage dogs are friendly to you. Wherefore they call you Hekate, many-named Mene, cleaving the air like arrow-shooting Artemis, O goddess of 4 faces, 4 names, 4 ways, Artemis, Persephone, deer-shooter, night-shiner, thrice-resounding, triple-voiced, 3-headed, thrice-named Hekate. O trident-bearing one of 3 faces, 3 necks, 3 ways, who holds undying flaming fire in triple baskets. You frequent the 3 ways, and are mistress of the 3 decades. Be gracious unto me, who is invoking you, and hearken favorably. You encompass the vast world at night. You make the demons shudder, and the immortals tremble. O many-named goddess who brings glory to men, whose children are fair and wise. O bull-eyed one, horned one, nature, all-mother, who brings forth both gods and men. You roam around Olympus and traverse the wide and fathomless abyss. You are the beginning and end, and you alone are mistress of all. For from you are all things, and in you, eternal one, do all things end. You bear at your brow an everlasting diadem, the unbreakable and irremovable bonds of great Kronos, and you hold in your hands a golden scepter which is encircled by a formula inscribed by Kronos himself, who gave it to you to bear, in order that all things remain steadfast. Overpowerer and overpowered one. Conqueror of men and Damnodania. You rule chaos. Era Carrera, Ephispikiri, hail goddess and attend your epithets. I offer you this incense, arrow shooter, heavenly one, goddess of harbors, mountain roamer, goddess of crossroads, nocturnal one of the underworld, shadowy one of Hades, still one who frightens. Having a feast among the graves, you are night, darkness, and broad chaos. For you are necessity, hard to escape. You are fate, you are Erinis, and the torture. You are the murderous injustice, you hold Feridus in chains. You are steely blue with serpent scales, O serpent-haired and serpent-girdled one, blood drinker, deathbringer who breeds corruption, feaster on hearts, flesh-eater who devours those who die before their time, graver sounder, driver to the wanderings of madness. Come to my offerings and fulfill this task for me. Now at this point, if you are, when you're doing what I'm doing, if you're going to summon a loved one who has gone before, or loved ones who have gone before, to come and assist with their passing. In the case of this family member, my aunt, her husband, my uncle, had already passed years ago, so he's whose help I enlisted. Now, here's the thing, too, and this is a little helpful. If you like spells, you like them to rhyme, you like them to sound good, steal spells from TV shows and movies. Literally. Like, they're just spells. They're written, they're done. If they're done well on a witchy show or movie, like, use it. Add to it, or not. You can use it as is. Just as long as you're like, you hear it, and you're like, that sounds like a real fucking spell. Then take it. So I borrowed from Charmed. And then I did add to it, but I borrowed from Charmed.
Nice try. You did that, didn't you? I know you did that.
Alec, prove it.
So it goes. So at this point, I would burn. So I have summoning spirits. This is a mix of herbs used to offer and summon the spirits. Again, I'm not actually going to burn it or anything because I'm not doing that, so why waste it? So the conjuration incense is used for evoking spirits of past and present. Each participant can add 9 drops of blood if they choose to the portion used in the ritual. We didn't. We did spells.
No.
She helped me do the spell, obviously, because we usually do most spells together.
Right.
And we didn't add any blood. It worked fine. It worked just fine, obviously, clearly. And the ingredients in here, in case maybe you want to make it yourself, or in my case, I want to refill the jar. So it contains opopanax, basil, rosemary, life everlasting, dittany of Crete, and damiana. Life everlasting, you probably have to go online to look for that, or an apothecary if you have one. If you're in Tacoma, obviously hawthorn and honey. Hi, Lisa. All right. So at this point, we would take this, pop the lid off. You know how it goes. Get some of your shit. Oh yeah, I have a little spoon. So you would take your stuff, your mixture, how much you need, and then put it in your cauldron. Now, if you can light one of those charcoal discs, and you have the patience for that, go ahead. I have watched people do it. I have used, watched YouTube videos of people showing how to do it. I can never do it. So what I do is a lot of times I will get a piece of paper and not write anything on it. I mean, you can put your spell intentions and powder it. And then I kind of make a little envelope pouch out of it by folding it. And not folding it origami into an envelope like we learned in elementary school to do during Valentine's Day and shit.
Right.
But I literally just kind of fold it in for whatever, just kind of so it can hold it, and then I fold it up, and then I stick it in the cauldron and I light it up. It works just fine. So once you've done that, your smoke is going, you have in mind who you want to contact. You say, hear these words, hear my cry. Spirits from the other side. Answer my plea, I summon thee, cross now the great divide. Hekate, psychopomp, ethereal light. Lead blank here to help as blank's guide. Obviously the blanks are the names you insert. And then you would call on the spirit. You would mention their relation to the person that you want to pass. So in this case, I say my uncle's name, husband of, and then I say my aunt's name, father of, and then I list all of my cousins, and uncle of, and then I list all the people who were his niece or nephew. And then I say cross the bridge and help your wife, or help whoever. So cross the bridge and blank. Cross the bridge and help blank. Your friend, your wife, your husband, your child, etc. Pass quickly and peacefully to the other side. And then once you've done that, you then reach out to, you call on Hekate, because now we're going to helping the last stage, which is helping this person go with Hekate, go with their already deceased loved one or loved ones, and move on. Hail Hekate, mighty eternal queen, divine mediator, she who walks between the worlds, torchbearer who shines her light upon our path, hear me now. Mistress of death, welcome this departed soul. I call upon you, great light, embrace this soul as they pass through the gates of death. Guide my beloved, blank, so aunt, mother, whoever, safely to the other side. Offer them comfort as they cross the threshold from this life to the next. Be with us now in our time of grief. May we know the peace of eternity. Let the light of their memory burn bright, and give us the faith to know that all that dies shall be reborn. Reborn. Hail Hekate, mighty eternal queen, divine mediator, she who walks between the worlds, torchbearer who shines her light upon our path. Hear me now, mistress of death, welcome this departed soul. And that's it. And then just put that out there. You're gonna be burning your shit. If you want to do the, however you cast spells here over your altar. Well, I mean, I don't know where your altar is. My altar is here. And you just, that's it. And then obviously seal clothes, make proper libations, offerings as usual. But it's a really great way to help a family member or another loved one who is just having a hard time moving on, and they need a little help. Summon a little ghost, help a little passive.
Exactly.
So there you have it. There is a very, very Hekate spellcraft suggestion.
Right.
Let us know in the comments what you think. Have you done any type of death spells, ghost spells, necromancy? Have you called on Hekate to help with those things? Let us know in the comments. All right, so there you have it. We know this is a lot, but we hope you had as much fun with all of the Hekate of it all that we were spelling for you. Now the show makes sense. Yeah, so it's obviously not everything about her. Like, there's so much more to Hekate than even we covered. Trust us.
Oh yeah.
We barely scratched the surface of all the information that we had to share. So maybe, next year, or maybe for one of her springtime festivals or something, maybe we'll do a part 2, even though technically this episode has like 2 parts.
Right.
But maybe we'll do like
follow-up.
Yeah, we'll do a follow-up where we cover all the other shit we didn't get to.
And it's always so hard with any deity to pack everything in that into one episode,
Exactly. But before we leave all of this, I of course did promise you, what were Hekate's thoughts on Christians and Christianity and Judaism, Islam, etc.? What were her thoughts on the whole Judeo-Christian situation? Well, we have some examples from the people who honored her during that time and tried to stand up to the rising oppression of the Judeo-Christian system. And also, we will have from the words of Hekate herself. So, one of the places that we did find her was in Antioch. Now, Antioch was, and this is located on the Turkey-Syrian border in present-day Antakya. And Antioch was a prosperous place during the Hellenic and Roman periods and went on to become one of the most significant places for Christianity during the Roman era. And it is sometimes referred to as the cradle of Christianity because of the fact that Peter evangelized the first pagans to Christianity there.
Wow.
And Paul's first mission was to Antioch, where his converts were the first to be named specifically as Christian. Christianity and the older religions of the region also coexisted for several centuries, but by the time of Emperor Julian's visit in 362 CE, the presence and influence of the pagan religions had been greatly reduced. But Antioch was also home to an underground temple dedicated to Hekate, which could be reached only by descending 365 steps. The temple was constructed and dedicated by Emperor Diocletian, and he reigned between 244 and 312 CE. Hints of secrecy combined with the number of steps in the staircase suggest that it may have been associated with an initiatory or otherwise mystery-related cult to her. So then we get to Julien the Apostate. Now, Julien the Apostate, I love him. He is remembered today for his attempts to return the Roman Empire to polythesism. Okay. And he reigned from his life of 331 through 336 CE. His achievements and writings continue to inspire people today. Very few people know that the goddess Hekate at Ephesus stood smiling with torches aflame. Actually, they were lit at a pivotal point in the young Julian's life. So the celebrated philosophers Eusebius and Chrysanthus had the young Julian entrusted to them for their mentorship. Eusebius was adamant that the Theurgists and their magic were to be avoided and was keen to illustrate the follies of these things to his students. When the Theurgist Maximus invited, so this was by this point Christianity has been around for like 300 years. Yeah. When the Theurgist Maximus invited him to attend a ceremony at the Temple of Hekate, Eusebius seized the opportunity, thinking, ha ha ha, I'm going to show you how stupid these pagans are and how wonderful us Christians are. They arrived at the temple where they were welcomed by their host, and Maximus proceeded by burning a grain of incense and reciting a hymn, and we were told that he was so highly successful in his demonstration that the image of the goddess first began to smile, then even seemed to laugh aloud. The ceremony continued, and soon after the goddess's torches, according to accounts, spontaneously burst into flame. Julian was so impressed by Maximus that he abandoned Eusebius and Chrysanthus as teachers and studied with Maximus at Ephesus instead. He received initiation into the mysteries. We are told this happened at Ephesus. And again, it's an underground chamber. The underground chamber is mentioned, and it is assumed that at least part of the ceremony took place in the Temple of Hekate itself. Presently, Julian became emperor, and a few years later assumed the position of sole emperor of the Roman Empire. Now, during his short reign, Julian made many daring social changes, and is today primarily remembered for his attempts to restore paganism to the Roman Empire. In 362 CE, he issued his Edict of Tolerance, which aimed to give all religious traditions equal legal standing. Julien ordered that the rebuilding and opening of temples which had been destroyed or abandoned by the Christians and the Jews, and also and the Muslims, and confiscated temples which had been illegally appropriated by wealthy citizens. His etiquette also allowed dissident Christian bishops to return to the empire. His rule would not last. Unfortunately, he died in 363 from either battle wounds or, according to some, injuries sustained by a Christian soldier in his own army who assassinated him. As Christians do.
Right.
Christians are full of betrayal, like straight up betrayal all the time. Christians are trash. Maximus was executed soon after, and Christianity was restored as the official religion of Rome to the exclusion of all others. Isn't it funny how pagans, witches, etc., are always, and Satanists, etc., are always just live and let live? Everybody should be able to worship how they want to.
Right.
And Christians, Muslims, and Jews are all like, no, that's all evil, and we're gonna kill you over trying to do equality, and we're going to fucking burn you and throw you up, and we're gonna destroy all your fucking temples. Even though you guys are like, you can have your churches, you can live here, you can practice your religion. We just also want to practice our religion. Sorry, Christians are trash. Judaism is trash. Islam is trash. Any Judeo-Christian, Judeo, one God, Jesus, any variation of that, trash. I know that there are good people in those religions.
Oh, of course.
As there are in any faith, but
The
as a
religions
whole,
themselves.
the religions themselves and the historical foundations of those religions and their belief systems, trash.
Of course, in a future episode, we may get into why specifically it's trash.
Right, exactly. So, one of the most significant oracles or messages given by Hekate happened after Christianity, all that jazz, blah, blah, blah. And this oracle is given not too long after Jesus' crucifixion, and yeah, it's interesting. So, one of the most significant oracles given by Hekate was recorded by Porphyry, and it commented on Jesus and Christianity itself. Porphyry was a Neoplatonic philosopher of the 3rd century CE, so, around the time of what we just said about Julien The Apostate. And he followed the works of Plotinus and studied the Jewish scriptures and attended lectures by the Christian theologian Origen. The oracle from Hekate was more than likely a response to his questions to Hekate, to the oracle to give to her. And he was the author of some of the most significant and intellectual anti-Christian writings of his age, against the Christians and prophecy from oracles. These are 2 of his books, which were burned by Christians for centuries over and over again. And the campaign against these works by the early church was so successful that the only surviving fragments of them are found in other related works by archaeologists who, discovered these scriptures, etc., from it being mentioned in other writing. Anyway, and to those who ask why he, Jesus, was condemned to die, the oracle of the goddess Hekate replied, "The body, indeed, is always exposed to torments, but the souls of the pious abide in heaven. And the soul you inquire about, Jesus, who's been crucified, etc., has been the fatal cause of error to other souls which were not fated to receive the gifts of the gods and to have the knowledge of immortal Jove." So, Jove, God, deity, basically. Not gendered, just God, basically, and that could be man or woman. Such souls are therefore hated by the gods, for they were fated not to receive the gifts of the gods and not to know God, were fated to be involved in error by means of him you speak of. He himself, however, was good, and heaven hath been opened to him, as to other good men. You are not then to speak evil of him, but to pity the folly of men, and through him men's danger is imminent. So, what does that all kind of translate to? So basically, what Hekate is saying, Jesus was a cool guy. Like, he was a good guy. He learned mysteries, he learned mystery cults, he learned witchcraft, he learned magic, he learned the secrets of the gods, but he was pretty dedicated to one, which was the Judeo god Yahweh, who, as we know, was actually a thunderous mountain war god of many other names, which we will have a future episode on. And, he had a wife named Asherah, and she is the goddess, basically, of the Canaanite region. And he was like, no, I want to do this all on my own. And that was that. So, as a result, Jesus was like, you can only worship him, blah, 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 pay no mind to the other gods, don't, whatever. So the gods were like, what the fuck? He was teaching mysteries he was taught in secret to others. So basically his cult of men, his apostles, he was teaching them secrets and things that they weren't supposed to know. And then once he died, they went and spread the shit, and he wasn't to be followed. He was not to be followed. And his teachings were taken wrong. He really wasn't supposed to give them. And so it's caused a lot of problems. Christianity, the Judeo-Christian religion, all of it has caused a lot of problems, as we know. Basically, every catastrophe up to modern time, world issues, events, problems, are usually because of fights over Judeo-Islamic Christian belief. And that's what that says. The folly of men for following him, the the dangers are imminent. And imminent doesn't necessarily mean then, oh, it's quick. Imminent just means it's going to happen soon,
Right.
and here you go, which is exactly what happened.
Mhm.
The Crusades began, all that shit happened, just as Hekate warned. Yeah, not a fan. So clearly, that's what she had to say about those who condemn her, have her statues locked up in fucking cages at the Vatican and shit like that. Yeah, that's how, that was her feelings on it. So again, we hope that this helps give you more insight into Hekate or your practice with her, new ways of honoring her, of seeing her for the full scope of who she is. And with that, let's get to Witchy Media Review.
Ooh.
And this is, woohoo! And this is just kind of a short, quick one. YouTube, find Believer, Reza Aslan. Now, this was a show that was on CNN for one season. Reza Aslan is of Muslim faith. He is an expert on world religions. He's not judgy in any way, shape, or form. And Believer is a show where he indulges into the culture, into the practice of many different religions. And he has an episode on voodoo, which is amazing. He's got an episode on Hinduism, which is amazing. And he has an episode about Santa Muerte. Now, it's a great, informative episode. He travels all over Mexico City, meeting with various people and learning about the Mexican liminal lady of death, necromancy, rebirth, joy, the sun, growth, life, magic, witchcraft,
All the things.
the crossroads, all the same things. It's 45 minutes long, like any CNN show, or any show is basically without the commercial breaks.
Right.
But it's really fun. It's really informative, and yeah, and again, you learn there's so many similarities between Santa Muerte and Hekate. Again, the loving of queer people, of the lost, of those on the outside, on the fringes, basically all the things that make me love our beautiful skinny lady. And it's just really just worth watching the whole season of Believer, well, the whole series, because obviously it never came back.
Right.
It's just amazing, and it's free on YouTube. Check it out. Obviously, I'm giving it a full moon. I've watched it a gazillion times. I'm giving it 1,000% a full moon.
Okay, I will give it a full moon too. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot about Santa Muerte that I didn't already know. I would love to get into watching his other episodes and finding like what paths he immersed himself in and researched.
Yep.
It's all just fascinating, of course, from a pagan point of view, but also from an anthropological point of view.
Yes. And what's also really cool is in the Hindu one, he seeks out this one Hindu death cult that's based around Kali.
Oh, really?
And but they're like, even in India, people are like, whoa, because they eat out of skull, like they'll eat flesh. They will get the bodies out of the Ganges and like eat them and like crazy shit. So like, and they're not fans of bathing, and things just get a little real in it, but it's really fascinating because again, there are connections, of course, between Hekate and Kali that are there. So anyway, yes, fascinating. Check out.
Absolutely.
Highly recommend it. All right. One last thing before we go. We have some amazing, exciting news that we are so happy to share. We will be at the Hekate Sickle Festival. It is the largest pagan, occult, witchcraft, Wicca, etc. Convention, and this will be held November 7th through the 9th at the Hilton Airport Hotel and Conference Convention Center in SeaTac. Tickets are available online at HEKATESickleFestival.com. We hope to see you guys there. We're going to be doing a live taping of our main subject, our main story. Obviously, we can't do the whole show there just because things like Witchcraft in the News, Witchy Media Review, etc. would just kind of be laborious or difficult to pull off.
Exactly.
But the main section of, our main topic of every episode, that is going to be filmed live in front of an audience, a full audience. So
you better be one of them.
Yeah, you better be one of them. Come in person and help us build our beautiful, baneful, and blessed coven right here in our corner of the circle.
Exactly. We cannot wait to see your shining, sparkling, and witchy faces.
Exactly. So, until next time, witches, as always, if you like what you saw, you want to help us out, then the best thing you can do is to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And remember, witches, broomsticks, not just for cleaning.